do have access to this Weaver for some degree of protection later on down the line. One of the things that I've seen often is that teams definitely prioritize ways to be able to deal with this Tidehunter if it emerges this early in the draft. There's no Monkey King in this game, no Disruptor just yet. Do you think Balrogs are going to focus on it, or do you think they're rather just going to let it happen, say, well, you guys on the side of Wolf Team are going to be playing the specific heavy team fight style. We understand that, we just need to be able to protect the Medusa and then it'll be okay.
I definitely think that the Weaver makes for a good start to that, and the Medusa is going to have a good lane versus this Tide, right? So not too much of a problem there. I'd like to see them pick up a break somewhere though. I'm thinking about a Doom here. This is a big threat for both Tidehunter and an Invoker, big early BKB builder, but I mean, why am I talking about Doom when, of course, the RoboZ Kunkka is still in the pool? And here we have another great teamfight director. It was you that I talked about the Kunkka with, right? The teamfight director waving his baton around.
Yep, the conductor in the middle of the teamfight there doing his thing. Is it going to be... I'm looking at this game though, right? And one of the things I really see about this Kunkka though is whenever I see this hero with Medusa, I get terrified of Coco Rum and just how much extra time that this hero has. The Medusa's effective HP now does seem a little bit through the roof, and it's a little bit more difficult to catch her and close her down as well, with Kunkka being there to provide so much disruption and chaos in that area of the fight.
Yeah, and the damage over on our way right now is mostly magical damage out from the Invoker. And they're going to have to make the kill happen basically during the Ravage, which is a tall order. Now with the Hoodwink, there's the break. Excellent Tidehunter counterpick. Especially with the range as well, it makes it very easy for any hero that jumps to kill a Tidehunter in combination with a Hoodwink. You usually see this one paired up with something like a Void Spirit, but any of the Spirit Brothers will do, or... The only thing with that is that would mean that this is not a RoboZ Kunkka, because they'd have to put him over on the side lane, which would make me a little bit sad, but at the same time, they could definitely use some more engagement tools up in here. So the other option is an offlaner that's going to provide that, but a lot of the jumping offlaners are out. The Tidehunter is, of course, the big Blink Dagger builder in this game, but the other ones would be a Mars or indeed the LC, and both of them have already been taken out.
Yep, sadly, long gone are the days where we have people playing Blink Dagger on Beastmaster or anything like that. And whoa, okay, this is an intriguing one. Wind Ranger does emerge now for the side of the Wolf team, currently tagged up as our way, but remember they are a Wolf team, they've changed up in that regard. This, where does this go firstly? It looks like a 4-position Wind Ranger at this point in time. I suppose it does help you with some laning prowess. He's a hero that has some degree of catch later on, but this is also, I was expecting when I saw like the way the draft was trending, right? That ban on the Lion just now, I thought that was going to be a hero that you really want. Of course, you know, it gets taken away in the second phase, but those style of heroes is what I was anticipating. Sure, you can still buy the Blink Dagger on this hero and use that as an initiation tool, but not always the most typical way that we see 4-position players playing this out. Or is this like one of these South America specials that we have coming out here?
No, I think this is King RD being a bit more of an experimental player. He has played it a bit in pubs recently. And yeah, they have decent stuns here, especially with the Gyrocopter. You can usually get a stun on somebody and then you want to follow up one with the Wind Ranger. Shackle's very nice long disable if you can get it, and she does provide a ton of damage. But in terms of actually forcing fights with your Pos 4, it's no Tusk.
Yeah, definitely not. It's definitely no Tusk. Tusk is one of these heroes that of late I've been so impressed whenever I see that hero getting played, and especially with Tidehunter. Just the various counts of interesting plays you can have with these two heroes. A nice small cone of space for both Anchor Smash and Ravage to be super effective. And a save to make sure that you have an even harder time killing this Tide. So, kind of surprised that that is the case, that they go Wind Ranger instead. So, we'll have to see what the decision is going to be from them from here on out. What comes next? What comes next year? What do they need still for both Balrogs and the side of the Wolf team?
Well, Balrogs, you see they're hedging their bets here. They're thinking, this might be a core Gyrocopter, so we'll ban out the Oracle. But it might also still be that pesky support Gyrocopter, so we'll take out the TB just in case. And that's the venom in a flex pick, and like a specific team-based flex pick, right? With our way, you really don't know which way they're going to go because they've played both, and they've played both very recently. So Balrogs are just going to have to... One of these bans is completely useless because our way wasn't going to go that way. I should say Wolf Team wasn't going to go our way.
Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. That was lovely. Oh, lol. We're getting to the very end of the draft right now. Balrogs still need to decide right now whether Kunkka's going into the safe lane or into the mid. So 20 seconds to have that option get catered to right now as well. For the Wolf team, we're still looking for, I would imagine, our plus 5 hero in that direction. And Balrogs...
I still think it's going to be Gary.
Oh, okay. I did not see this Brewmaster coming. This is something that I did not see coming from a mile away. Where did this come from? Where is this emerging out of? Why is there this last pick Brewmaster in this situation for the Balrogs?
SA has been playing quite a lot of Brewmaster with mixed success, but at the very least, either a Hoodwink Brewmaster lane or a Weaver Brewmaster lane is going to be a ton of damage. It's actually very oppressive. A Gyrocopter is not going to be able to stand safely against this lane, and I think that will push our way into grabbing themselves a carry here, and you can see them thinking about it.
Some time to make this consideration. What's left that's good against Dusa?
Ursa,
yeah. Ursa's good against everything here, actually. Like, this feels like a...
Every single time people pick the Dusa, leave the bloody Ursa open, and I sit back and I'm like, well, I get this one.
Let's hope that Wolf team will repay this faith. Come on, y'all. 30 seconds to pick up the big bear. We've already got one bear on the other side. Might as well double it up and add 2.
I'm game to see a bear brawl on the top lane. Ursa is a little bit annoying versus Kunkka, versus Weaver. There's a lot of kite. The X marks is going to mess with you. You're going to get pushed around by the Kunkka. But if you can stick on top of people in this game, like at least during your BKB window, you are going to be absolutely a god.
And this is why I keep calling you the Empress of the casting scene. She knows what's up. This is why you gotta hire and listen to Kips. Reading the Ursa pick at the very end, reading that they still needed a carry in the situation. They pick it up. Now they have the HFN bear ready to go and chomp down on pretty much everybody on the other side here. And this is the definite best lost pick they could have gotten. You said yet every single time you see these Medusas fail to ban out the Ursa at the end of the draft. What happens in those games? Please tell us what the situation is going to be here.
They get eaten alive, and it's not pretty. The problem is really that Medusa can't actually stand versus the sheer burst damage output. Like, you get one ult, but Ursa, especially since and this has been a while, right? Especially since the change with the little Earthshock hop, is pretty good at disengaging. Previously, he always used to be all in, and I think ever since that change, and ever since people have been starting to build Diffusal Blade on Ursa, the Medusas just get shredded. And she's the one that's going to have to stand in the middle of this team and dish out the damage, because that's the other thing. After the peak of this Hoodwink is over, it's a Kunkka and a Brewmaster. You mostly have tanks here at the ready. Who are you going to kill while this Ursa and this Invoker are running circles around you? It's going to be very rough for Balrogs. They don't have the core matchup here, and in the team fights, a lot comes down to Draken here, but I think he's also going to have a rough time in lane.
Certainly doesn't seem like it's going to be the easiest game here for the Balrogs. And they won the matchup in the qualifiers against the side of Wolf Team, going up, or Wolf Team won rather, but they won the first game on the Balrogs. But I don't see how that's going to happen again here. Feels a bit complicated, feels difficult. They'll certainly have to bring their best foot forward. And as they get into the game, I suppose now the one thing that they can at least start thinking about is what are the ways in which they can open up space for the Medusa ASAP. It's not like Ursa's going to be running at you from minute 0, so do you think they're going to have any interesting lane configurations just to try and eke out an earlier advantage to make sure that the mid game isn't as rough as it could be?
I think their laning stage looks pretty decent, actually. Like, as I said before, this Medusa is going to have a good lane versus the Tide. The Kunkka Invoker one is another one where the Kunkka should do pretty dang well. Although I have recently seen at least one Invoker run away with this matchup, but that's a rarity. It's mostly just a sustain lane for the Invoker. Make sure that you don't get pushed all the way under your tower, and dodge some of the splashes by sidestepping them if you can. And at the very least, with the cost regen, you get to stay.
Yep. Regen is going to be very good here. Might see a small contest happening in this top lane as they're stacking up around this Ursa. Do they have what it takes to get this kill? HFN gets bushwhacked back towards a tree and they're trying to body block here, but unfortunately not going to end up happening. Zisha sadly just has to watch the bear walk away. Still at least force him to use some of the earlier regen here. And now you have the positioning to be able to claim the top 2 bounty runes. I think this is good enough, right? I don't think you need to take the additional risk of trying to fight for the other ones as well.
No, I don't think you have to. And this was a pretty big blow for HFN. Like, he's going to be almost fully regened up by the time the laning stage comes around, but now he's not going to contribute anything here.
Yeah. Just has to watch his allies moving out on the map as the horn will sound. And this game is getting underway. The lower division of South America's DPC will commence and continue with Balrog Esports taking on the side of Wolf Team. It's a lot of pride on the line, you know, and a lot of journey to go. Obviously, we want the Balrogs to look for revenge from what happened in the qualifiers, but both teams not really thinking about the qualifiers anymore, right? They're thinking about how do I get myself into the upper division, make sure that I win all these matches, make sure that the time the next season rolls around, I'm already well on my way towards entering TI.
Yep. I mean, if you look at the roster of Wolf Team here, and I think a lot of people, if they're not in SA, they will know these players because they were on SG Esports last year. These are international players. They're in Division 2 right now.
Yeah. So definitely they've proven and they've demonstrated that they can hang not just with the big boys in the upper division of Division 1, but in the international stage as well. They can make things happen. We'll see how this game pans out for them. In this top lane, take a look at HFN, who on the bear started off a little bit slow, given having to contribute a lot of his regen to just stay alive. But in this lane, he should still be able to get the farm that he needs. And you were mentioning that this is definitely going to be a game where he builds up the diffusal blade, right? And certainly, I love the diffusal option, especially when you have gyro as support as well, because then you're not really worried about having to do the hard work of helping to close down these targets before you get there with the item. So 40R versus RoboZ, you did mention already that this is a matchup where just a sustain lane for this Invoker. Try to make sure that you never get really fully pushed under the tower. Should be able to be fine. I don't think we're going to have any major issues for this Invoker in this game. Does anybody build anything weird in this game now that I think about it? Feels like a very standard matchup for most of the players, right, in their roles right now.
Yeah, I think so. I don't really see any reasons to deviate in particular. Like, I think the most different builds you might see coming out here are on the offlaners. The Tidehunter.
Speaking of offlaners,
Could go for a hood.
in the top lane, the offlaners almost got a kill onto HFN. Here in the top lane, Balrog Esports playing aggressively with Draken and Zisha, and they almost got HFN dead again. Fortunately, he does manage to TP out at the very last second, but that does not bode well. It's kind of a bad sign of life for this bear going forward, and they do definitely need this Ursa to have the best possible start to the game. The last thing you want from this bear is for him to be struggling whilst this Brewmaster is just creating havoc and chaos for the rest of the team. Especially since this Medusa, yeah, she has fewer CS, but hasn't had to commit nearly as much of the regen gold just to sustain and survive this lane down here on the bottom side of the map. So still somewhat slow early game. Nice bushwhack though, flying out onto Tavo. Burner. Throws in some damage. There's a Mystic Snake as well. Does have the magic stick to pop and also had the Ring of Health ferried in already. Tavo will be A-okay in this situation. But yet again, we do see that it's the side of Wolf Team that's committing a lot of their early gold just to be able to secure regen for themselves. In fact, it's pretty much only this mid lane with the Kunkka where he, just got burned down a little bit now. We'll have a water rune fairly soon to pick up and still has a bounty in the jungle. But pretty much only RoboZ that's been allowed to play the game out Oh, sorry, the Invoker has been allowed to play the game out without having to overcommit on regen, survival, keeping his presence in the lane. But everybody else having a little bit of concerns in that regard, and Balrog Esports will take full advantage of the situation by free farming on Burner. They bring him a salve as well, just for good measure. It's the first one I think they've used in this side of the map, so definitely don't mind having to commit that gold to make it happen. And they go back onto Tavo with a bushwhack. Alrighty. Not going to be enough damage to kill him, but definitely going to be enough damage to zone him away until the Ring of Health kicks in a bit more.
Yep, and this snake is going to continue giving him trouble here, especially as his support stays away for now.
Speaking of that support, they're top lane, throwing out a power shot with the shackle out onto this Weaver, and Weaver will die. My goodness, HFN gets it with the Earth Shock a second before the Wind Ranger dies. They almost lost out on the first blood, but a clutch moment of decision making from our bear allows him to get the first blood. And now all is forgotten, right? Doesn't mind whatsoever that he's had to commit as much gold as he has just to stay alive in this lane.
Yep, that helps him out a lot. But it is still concerning that they're forced to bring their support over on top and completely ditch Tavo in his bottom lane to get any pressure going at all. And Gyrocopter, not the best of tri-lane supports. Great tri-lane carry because he has a stun, but a sucky tri-lane support. You need levels on this hero.
Unfortunately you do. Unfortunately you do. Gyrocopter, you can't just play him and be like, oh, it's fine. Just play him as pos 5 and everything's okay. You need to give him something, and they are definitely recognizing the need to keep committing here as middle. Oh, we see a jump onto 40R. They really want the kill. RoboZ combos up with the Weaver to find the kill, and they're also going to be connecting onto the Brewmaster in the top lane, though, from the side of Wolf Team. So they will not allow the rotation to go unpunished. Something happens in the mid lane, they do something up on top. Unfortunately, though, like you mentioned, this does rob a little bit of the experience away from the Ursa Gyrocopter. But the big thing is that they didn't allow this Kunkka to just get this kill for free here in the mid lane after they rotated out the Weaver.
Yep, very important. And Tavo's flying in his hood right now, so he's going to have the sustaining power to, at the very least, stay on lane versus Burna. He can't do anything about the Medusa, but at least he's going to be able to keep his CS up. And he has been doing pretty well, in fact. I for sure thought that this would be going way worse.
Yeah. That early pickup that they got on the Ring of Health really did change the game for him. Allows him to just maintain this permanent presence here. And I think as well now, we see that Burna Hoodwink has abandoned a little bit to try and stack and do things elsewhere and respond to some of the pressure out on top. So I think in this 1v1 matchup, you definitely get even happier as Tavo, right? There's very little threat that Medusa, all by her lonesome at this stage, can present to you.
King RD, top.
In a bit of trouble here. Shackle shot though goes back onto the Weaver, and wow. Okay, the bug bit off a lot more than it could chew. And it gets eaten alive here. HFN, second kill of the game. The bear is getting its claws bloody early here, Kips. And this is not a... It's one thing to give away the one kill to this Ursa, but when you get 2, 3, 4, all pre-10 minutes, things get a little bit worrying.
Oh yeah, they're getting dicey.
See, a small fight might happen here around the river, though. King RD stows in the shackle shot, doesn't connect onto anything. They try to TP out with the jab. That was way too optimistic. Come on, fam. That was never gonna happen. Like, really? Seriously? Right next to the Roshan pit, attempt to get out of that situation. I mean, is it really that bad, though, to die there? Sure, it's gonna suck to not be able to TP out, but you did draw quite a lot of commitment, though, from this Balrog heroes. Or is it too early in the game for that really to be a factor in terms of the kill and its distribution of gold in the opposite direction?
I think it's a little bit early. Like, honestly, if you look at the laning stage here, I think both teams are happy with what they got. Of course, 40R got pressured out of the mid lane pretty heavily. And Draken is the only one. He's a Brewmaster, right? He doesn't need that much. He just needs to be in the right place at the right time with his ultimates. But this rough start makes it slightly harder for him to do that.
Yeah. Definitely does make it harder for that to happen and happen reliably in these situations. So 40R, I'm very happy that he's going to be going for the Xiangyu here Spirit Vessel. As we see top, quick jump onto this Hoodwink, And will this be a kill? Not just yet. Double damage win on the Wind Ranger, but not able to get a kill just yet. And now heroes are streaming in to find some revenge. They managed to get the one, but Tavo also porting to the side of the map. They really want to try and get a kill onto RoboZ. The bear has used the Brewmaster split, and he's using it very, very well on Draken to ensure that they cannot chase down RoboZ. Both Tavo and HFN will feel their time's been wasted. Sunstrike doesn't connect onto the Hoodwink, but unfortunately Yadomi still chasing RoboZ. Fairy Fire keeps him alive for now. The second degree of Rocket Barrage, more than enough damage to finally get the kill. And this fight is breaking out in several directions because Draken managed to bring down HFN. Will certainly pay for this though with his own life. Becomes a 2-for-1 trade, 2 cores just for the bear. That was a very weird fight.
Ravage.
Oh, did they use Ravage?
They used Ravage, yeah.
Oh,
Tavo
no.
thought that he could actually save the Ursa with that, but unfortunately his physical damage wasn't actually enough, so the Brewmaster still got to him before.
Oh no. No Ravage. So you trade Brewmaster split for Ravage, and then the 2-for-1 life trade. Well, 3-for-2 actually, if
Pretty
you
good.
consider the supports as well, but down bottom. Hoodwink, a little bit of danger. There's a bear trying to chase you down right now. You need to be very careful about what HFN is trying to do. Not going to be happy about having lost his life and will very quickly vacate that side of the map. Do you think you're going to be finding... Do you think they try and actually force a fight down bottom? Or do they just bring heroes to help him take the tower so he can start farming up in the jungle towards the Diffusal +1? Probably the Blick Dagger in this game.
Yep, that's probably the choice right here, and they're anticipating the Medusa going towards the triangle as well. The only problem that they have here is, of course, that they've left Tavo on the top lane, where normally you can be a big threat by, hey, if you group up here, I'm gonna ravage you and you can't take my tower. As Yadomi snipes another kill. This guy, man. But yeah, Tavo can die on this top lane, so this move is a little bit more dangerous than normally. They really didn't want to spend that ravage.
60 seconds basically until we
And
have
they're going for
Ravage
mid?
back online. Mid lane. Will they be able to find this kill onto RoboZ? Wind Ranger getting closer. Shackle Shot doesn't connect. Beautiful dodge out from the Kunkka. And the Ice Wall not enough to slow him down either. And as he gets back, he'll just be happy to survive. They do take the bottom tower, and they might be able to return in time to defend top. Tavo, 30 seconds until he has Ravage. Yadomi will be the first one streaming into here, but 40R and this Wind Ranger are smoked up here, kids. They want to try and come for this fight as well. They want to defend this tower, not allow Balrog to take it for free.
Even though they have several TPs down or heroes without TP scrolls, they are actually moving everybody up top just by simply walking. And now that Ravage will be back. The Primal Split, of course, has also returned. X marks onto Tavo.
Might need to use the Ravage right now because he's been caught up with these spells, and they have the kill literally a second before Ravage comes fully back off cooldown. Tavo ends up losing his life. That opens up the space for the tier 1 tower in the top lane. And Wolf Team certainly had the right idea. Threaten with Tavo, keep the Ravage pocketed until it's the time to defend. But sadly, the timing just not right. And also, sadly enough, everybody else from Wolf Team
And they're gonna lose more.
went in the opposite direction. Yadomi does drop down the cooldown to dissuade Balrog from chasing too far forward. Will they be able to get out though? Kunkka really wants to find a target for the X. And at the same time, while all this is happening, a wave of creeps also pushes in this mid lane tower. So it feels like the side of Wolf Team right now have lost a lot of ground in a very short span of time in this game at the moment.
Yeah, especially letting the mid tower fall when most of them were near is a shame. But I think it was a good move to try and defend their jungle there. Because if you can avoid the side of Balrogs putting their wards in, you can really constrict the map. And you already have an Ursa sitting in their jungle.
Master has split available, has all his mana burned away, does still have a soul ring and a magic wand, so this shouldn't be a problem. At the same time, Sexy, you're going caught out with a shackle shot. That's going to lead to the death of the Hoodwink, but that buys time for Draken to get off his ultimate as well. They're looking for revenge. Wind Ranger might be the first one that they find it on. Torrented up into the air. Do they have the damage for the kill? Indeed they do, but they might not be able to escape out of this easily. It's Tavo here with the Ravage available. A homing missile also chasing Draken down. Worst case scenario for the Brewmaster.
There's a bear.
And there's the HFN. Ursa easily able to close down this bear. Brewmaster's gone. Tavo will claim the kill. And they did that, Kips, without having to commit Ravage. Yay! Positive wins.
That's absolutely a big win for Wolf Team here. That means that if they want to, they can walk down any tower they want, but they seem a little bit preoccupied with getting the Roche right now. So not going to choose to take down the enemy mid tower just yet. That does mean that the Brewmaster can come straight back in now, even though he doesn't have an ultimate, of course. This could still be a full 5v5.
See how quickly Balrog Esports make their way towards the Roshan pit as Wolf team insistent on taking this early. Ursa always wants the first one. Torrents dropped in. Do see a tornado now coming in onto Dusa with an EMP and a Ravage as well. They have the damage. Burner is losing everything in the blink of an eye. The Medusa's lost. Everybody else needs to run. Draken, you just respawned, my friend, but you still have to go right back to the fountain if they get the extra kill. But here comes Robo V. Torrent, both crashing down onto a 3 hero. 2 of them fall in an instant. HFN, also not the healthiest target right now, does have range in a moment. Will he use it? Yes, he does. Turning back onto Robo Z. Will they have the damage necessary to bring down the Kunkka? You bet they do. Weaver trying to find some revenge quickly, drop down the Swarm Bug, but there's too much damage here from the side of Wolf team. They got the kill onto Ursa, does require the life of the Weaver, but at the very least getting something back in that situation. And my goodness, that was a wild ride at the end of the day. It is, though, a 4-for-3 trade, and the Wolf team, though they didn't get the Aegis, definitely come away happy with that fight.
Yep, especially because the Ursa didn't really lose any gold there. His Diffusal Blade had exactly just come in, so everything he got there was added and not lost in death. And they're just going to come right in for another go at that Roshan, who is still at half health. They have to be careful of Draken, though. He has a split up again, and I wonder if they're going to want to wait for a Ravage.
I think they probably have to at this stage in time. There's no real option but to do that. What do you make also, speaking of Ravage, of this Tidehunter's item build here, going for the super early Heaven's Halberd in this situation? I mean, I guess considering that the only real right clicker on Balrog is this Medusa, that 5 seconds of time where she's doing practically nothing, considering she's never going to buy a BKB, can definitely be useful, but is this the best possible item that he could have gotten at this stage?
Yeah, I find it really enjoyable. The little bit of evasion is also going to do something for him, because a lot of the other damage that they bring is actually also physical, apart from the Medusa. So, wow. Pretty much the optimum item here.
Just lost a very, very quick hoodwink. Draken, though, also can't get a trigger off on the Brewmaster split. Cold Snap with Invoker and a Spirit Vessel. Yeah, cost point interruption, great mechanic in Dota 2, and now with these 2 heroes in the grave, neither of whom having buyback, they're finally gonna go back into this. The Roshan has regened up a little bit from this point. Torrent will obviously slow them down, but I think this time around they should be able to claim this one without too much contest from Balrog.
RoboZ is thinking about that boat. Vision? Ah, they can't.
Scary times. This is not how you wanted the game to be going.
Scary times.
You know, you wanted to be able to stop the first Roche. It's never fun playing into the Ursa that gets like that first pre-20 Aegis, and then they start playing aggressively into your face after that.
And this Medusa, while she did get a little bit of time to farm up, is not exactly ready. Like, you're going to be looking for that Manta Skadi before at least she's a proper, don't want to say a threat in the team fight, but like a presence in the team fight. And she still has a ways to go for that. There's at least 4 minutes here for this Ursa to make some pressure happen, which curiously enough is exactly the timer over on his Aegis.
I think it gets really scary, especially once Ursa gets this BKB. Then life is very fun. Right now they've at least been finding some success. Well, not the last time around, but Draken's been helping out to ensure that the Medusa is not just immediately chased down. Sadly, once BKB is up, and especially when it's BKB plus Blink, things change in a hurry. But HFN will be content to farm for a while. This Medusa still doesn't want to really be involved. Like you mentioned, she's not yet ready to fight. But Wolf team might also give her that time, because they've just picked up this head on Midas for 40R. So they are not really in a position and in a situation where they really feel super happy about how everything's going on the map. But with this Midas, they're gonna get 40R closer towards having Aghanim Scepter. Give me Cataclysm, baby. Give me Cataclysm. Give me that damage. Open up the heavens and scream in the sunlight.
Ravage Cataclysm. This is gonna hurt.
Sounds balanced, you know? Feels very fair to me. I literally don't see a problem with one stun and then you lose half your HP a second later before you move. Seems completely okay to me. Dota 2's fine.
You should have just done something about that before it got out of hand.
It's people saying, oh, you don't like Pudge Chen combo at tier 3? Why didn't you just ban Chen, bro? Just ban Pudge. It would have been okay. Everything would be fine.
Just anticipate the enemy's creative thinking.
Wolf team. This is not creative at all. You're just putting the two beefcakes at the very forefront, taking down the tower. This Ursa banging onto the building. Tavo sieging and preparing to let the Ravage rip if needed. They will certainly be able to keep the tower from getting denied at all, and they get the full gold. You know, normally the order of operations is getting the tower first and then you get Roche, but you know, Wolf team doing things a little bit differently today.
And there's absolutely no reason for them to stop right now. They got 2 minutes left on his Aegis. They're going to be taking this bot tower. Maybe fishing for another engagement here as well. Otherwise, they're just going to take it to the racks and see if they can, at the very least, get the base tower on the bottom lane.
Gonna start using that timing that's left on the Aegis, and Balrogs doing the right thing by avoiding them completely. Position out in this top lane. Medusa does have the gold for her Skadi now. It's arriving right as the Heaven's Halberd is finished though for Tavo, so it's a little bit problematic and complicated. But the big thing, they really want this tower. They do not want to be playing into the outpost discrepancy, but doesn't seem like Wolf team wants to let them have it. They're already starting to position heroes in the top lane to mount this defense. They're going in. Okay, here's the Ravage. It connects onto two. They've already gotten the Tornado out. No kills just yet onto this Weaver, although he fell very low. Brewmaster does get off the split. The TP attempt from this Medusa. Will it be good enough? Yes, it will. Stone Gaze bought the opportunity to escape. Now, how about the rest of the targets? Sexy Yogoe. Homing missile catching up. Draken also getting caught on right now by the rest of the team. The shackle shot will be on. Nice torrent from Robo Z, but not nice enough. And the Brewmaster does end up taking a tumble. They protect the life of the Medusa, but unfortunately they cannot do the same for this Brewmaster. Sometimes somebody has to be the sacrificial lamb. And they still defend the tier 2 tower. They still got the other tower themselves. Right now, Wolf team definitely on a tear on this map right now, kids.
But getting the win-win scenario every single time. Also did not have to use the BKB for the Ursa there. So he's still got that fresh and ready for the next time they're going to fight. The only thing is that they didn't fully get to utilize this Aegis, but I'm pretty sure that he was waiting for Aegis number 2 and his precious shard before actually properly wanting to do anything.
I also want to do something here in the mid lane.
And I'm saying that as a
beautiful shackle shot out onto this Hoodwink. Not enough damage to kill just yet though. Although the Spirit Vessel will help out. Drag back with the boat will kill the Wind Ranger. Hoodwink finally does take a tumble as Tavo broken for a moment, getting chased down with the damage, and here comes HFN getting into the fight. Still hasn't used BKB, doesn't even need it. They just tear the pirate apart. And then nothing you can do about that one. Tide Hunter laughing in the Kunka's face. The rivalry stays strong. And there's 2 heroes gone. At Balrog, they really thought that maybe we could do something here. We have a bit of a chase going for ourselves, but they sort of underestimated the strength of the Wolf team.
I think they didn't quite respect the idea that HFN could jump out of the trees at any moment. Unfortunately, but this is the power of the Ursa pick. It was always going to do super well in this game, and HFN is leveraging it for all that it's worth.
Oh, without a doubt. He's looking super solid on the hero right now. He's in a position where he's still in that fight, did not pop the BKB, so we're still at 9 seconds for the bear. And the world is his oyster. He can really decide what direction to go with the build. I'm thinking Blink Dagger seems like the likeliest option. Or do you think he's gonna rather opt for Basher instead, given that he seems to have no problem getting in and out of the fight without Blink Dagger anyway?
Yeah, I like the idea of the Basher much more, because pretty much you're only going to fight around the Ravage right now. And you're going to be working against the Brewlings, which you might want to tear up as well, plus the extra damage for Sedusa. It's all good. So that would be my guess. Wait, is that the full Aghanims for...
Yeah, baby.
Who just bought an Aghanims right now?
Our boy Draken. So Brewmaster is ready with the annoying plays. Oh, also see what's gonna annoy Robo Z. Gets caught and pins it. Does have the access to the BKB. Will be forced to use it, dropping a boat to escape as well. In the meantime, Draken was able to take down this Wind Ranger. And with BKB used by Robo Z, where do they go with the rest of this fight? Draken getting involved, wanting to chase down Yadomi as HFN looking towards the Juicer. They force out the Stone Gaze. Gonna get stoned up on the Ursa, but with the Ravage, they still stalled her up. And there's gonna be a Tornado as well. They really want to chase her down, but Robo Z with the magnificent Torrent. It's still not enough just yet though. Can they get the cancel on the TP? No, they can't. Definitely queue up the Basher now, my friend. As they had lost 2, Yadomi died at the very far edge of the fight. And Balrog Esports somehow, some way get out of the situation. That was remarkably close, but they just didn't have enough to fully tear through her and make sure they cancel the TP at the same time.
Yep, and in the meantime, especially the Weaver was constantly on the backlines of Wolf Team, making sure that those supports couldn't do anything in that fight.
Kept out completely. There were swarm bugs on both this Wind Ranger as well as the Gyro pretty much the entire time. And unfortunately, under those conditions, under those circumstances, very difficult to be involved. Middle lane though, might have another fight. Beautiful bushwhack on the 2. They drag back to this bear. Shackle shot though to connect onto Draken. Do they have the damage for this kill? Yadomi's on him, but they provide protection by throwing in the boat. It crashes onto the Gyrocopter, enabling Medusa to get that kill. She's now chasing onto the Ursa. Tornado from 40 yards doesn't connect onto anybody, and Wolf Team, okay, another fight that doesn't necessarily go in their direction in their favor. And it doesn't look like Balrog is done with this chase. They really want something more in the situation. This game now, though, really does feel like Balrog Esports, provided they can keep this tempo up and keep fighting like this and keep drawing HFN to these engagements. Burn has been quietly accruing quite a lot of net worth in this situation as a scouting cataclysm used to kill a Weaver. Okay, probably a bit of overcommittal for that hero, but whatever.
Okay.
Poor bug, imagine.
Sometimes you step on people, sometimes you get either one getting stepped on. That's life.
Well, in this case, it's death as well. You gotta go respawn.
Truth.
Medusa has Butterfly, Skadi, Manta style. Ursa is going for an S and Y build here. This is a bit peculiar. Both of us were expecting either Basher or the Blink Dagger. I don't feel maybe like status resistance was that big of an issue for him at this point, given that he already had the BKB. What do you make of this item build that he's gone for here?
I think he underestimated the speed at which the Medusa was farming just a little bit. She's definitely overtaken him by now, and that Butterfly coming out, he would really rather have the MKB or most of the MKB right now rather than waiting for it more, but they're going to have to really rely on this next Aegis now.
Ursa Gaming, where you feel really bad every time you miss out on the big man. It's always nice, it's very fun. So they desperately need to make sure that they can secure this next Aegis. Like you mentioned, the all-important Aghanim Shard going to be available for the Ursa at that point. And Balrogs also aware of this. They're making sure to position around this Aegis. They don't have that much vision here, but between Sexy Yagoe and this Weaver, they should be able to very easily ensure that they can see everything before the fight starts. It would be nice if they can get a first pick off, but I think like the next 5-10 minutes are going to be played mostly around this area here. So we'll see how it goes as both teams are setting up, preparing themselves for the next encroachment somewhere on the map. I think right now one of the big things as well that we really need to see coming in from the Balrog Esports lineup is figuring out how to leverage the power of this Medusa in better ways. She's so far been largely uninvolved in any of the big plays that they've tried to make across the map. So now that she's this strong, you kind of have to use all this gold that's sitting on this hero. Otherwise, just kind of wasted, you know? Wolf Team have been doing this for a long time with this Ursa Bear, allowing him to jump into the fray, get these kills, bloody his claws, pick up farm from heroes as well as from the camps and from the lane itself. And there's a reason why he's 8, 2, and 7, and also number 2 on the net worth right now for HFN. But exactly like how you mentioned, Despite underestimating the farm speed of this Medusa, he's recognizing the predicament that he's in, immediately queuing up this MKB, preparing himself for a way to fight head-to-head against this Medusa. And she's very content to just slither away. She's like, oh, I've drawn back some supports, I've drawn back some core heroes, awesome. Now we can run ourselves back in the opposite direction, drop some swarm bugs on the big man. Balrog Esports do not want to allow the Wolf team to claim this opening Aegis. See if they can make this happen. They can keep this going. Tornado coming in from 40R. Doesn't scout anybody out. They've already repositioned from the area, but now there's going to be a cooldown from Yadomi, but he's also dragged back into the Medusa's face. More than enough damage to get the kill, and the bushwhack out onto HFN, but the Blink Ravage with Cataclysm following up. Two heroes melt in the blink of an eye. Gale Force pushing back the Medusa. She's trying to escape with the Stone Gaze. She's going to be held up for such a long time. The BKB from RoboZ also required here. Draken brought back instantly, comes back in with the Aghanim Scepter ultimate, with the beautiful tidal wave from RoboZ allowing them to kill Wind Ranger. HFN has to pop BKB and flee. 40R though doesn't have such luck. No magic immunity for you, so that's just going to be a straight up death for the Invoker. Will they be able to get Tabo out of trouble? It does blink out magnificently. King R trying to get away right now with this Wind Ranger. Draken goes in for the secondary split. Will they chase down Tabo? They're dragging him back with the X marks the spot. Kraken Shell takes off a lot of damage. Hood of Defiance is making them really work for this one, but eventually their work will be successful and they find the kill. Wind Ranger did her best, blinked in with the Blink Shackle Shot just to open up a little bit of space, but unfortunately just not enough. And now Balrog with a decisive teamfight victory. Suddenly, they want to try go for Roche, but at the same time, it's a risky proposition because, oh, HFN, will they get the kill? No, too tanky, no stuns. All right, this time surely they have to be able to get this Roche. There's no Ravage, there's no Cataclysm, there's no BKB on the Ursa. It's theirs for the taking. The only question is, how easy will Wolf Team make it for them to go in for the big man? Gale Force from Wolf Team pushing back onto these heroes around the pit, not allowing them to get in. Draken trying to run forward, and we have a very big sharpshooter hit onto Yadomi. Not dead just yet though, as HFN able to crash down onto the Hoodwink, but the Aegis will be taken by the Medusa. Draken tanks one for the team. Very happy to give up his life in that situation. The same is going to be true of this Weaver as well. Unfortunately, no way to survive that situation. But ultimately, Balrog Esports will take it. Now we have Aegis of the Immortal on the Medusa. They gave her the Aghanim shot as well, so she has the Cold-Blooded perk. She is ready to go, feeling a lot better about how this game is looking. And she also dished out so much damage in these last fights that she definitely feels like she's prepared to take on HFN for the rest of this game in the shape that she's in.
The butterfly is going to make a big difference, but that one is still in the works, and it's going to be hard to deal with her 2 times when they also have to deal with Draken 2 times most of these fights.
Yeah. Draken's done such a good job, and I've always loved this build since it's come out, like the Aghanims into Aeon Dust build for Brewmasters. Like, he's even going directly into Refresher. Do you even need Blink Dagger nowadays when you go for this build on this hero?
No, especially not because by the
Just the squirrel
by the time that you happens in the woods every day.
They might also eat a snake though with this bear. They're chasing down here. Buyback in from the Hoodwink. They're forced to flee. Burner gets some mana burnt away, but not gonna be good enough. Tabo dragged back by the X marks. I think they definitely will be able to find this Tidehunter kill. Will take a while, but they've demonstrated before that they have the ability. Medusa has time to pick up an MKB during this chase, so that'll certainly help. Burner now on a killing spree. This Medusa just getting so strong. And they're not done yet. Draken trying to chase down HFN. Thankfully, the 4 staffs in tow on his team from the supports will ensure that the bear survives. But look how much of the map they've given up suddenly, just after these couple of plays.
It's painful. They're waiting for the Invoker Refresher now, as well as that MKB over on the Ursa, and even then they'll have to wait out this Aegis for sure. The question is if they can do that without losing base. They don't have the greatest of stalling spells here.
Definitely not. I mean, Can they even hold out against super groups if they do end up losing like multiple layers of racks? Isn't it like super important for them to just prevent any racks from falling, given that their lineup isn't the best at that kind of counter push?
That would be the ideal situation, yeah. The only tool that they have for it really is the Invoker, who is decent if you're dealing with like a single lane. HFN just went in, he's getting pushed back.
Okay, they want to try and force the kill onto this Medusa. Not going to be able to do so. Didn't have to use BKB just yet though. So they'll probably just be happy that Burner has had half of his HP burned away. Sure, it might be the first life, but they definitely don't want to be too cavalier with the positioning of the Snake Lady. Draken, first ultimate is over. Actually, both ultimates are down. One of the few times in this game we're going to see this situation happen. And therefore, they have to back. That answers your question here, Kips. Wolf team managed to hold the high ground and not give up any tier 3 towers inside their base.
And they're even smoking out now. I guess they're counting on there not being any ultimates over on Draken right now.
Oh god. Burner is very much ahead of his team right now. Sitting with the Sages, so a lot more confident with the 90 seconds of a double life. HFN though finds a target that doesn't have a double life. RoboZ forced to pop BKB. And there's going to be Blink Ravage coming in from Tabo, but the Aeon Disc keeps Draken alive. They don't have the ultimate just yet, but thus far they still don't need it. The Medusa pop Stone Gates on the other side of the fight while they're trying to chase down RoboZ, HFN and 40R on this side of the fight. And they won't be able to get the kill thanks to the time lapse. But RoboZ finally will get low. No, he's still alive. Medusa shows up with the right clicks in every direction. They've taken out 40R. They do now lose RoboZ, but at what cost? What do they get away with here, Wolf team? Okay, they TP out on their heroes. Nobody else is getting caught just yet. Tabo, though, might not be so lucky. Often has been the sacrificial lamb here for his team. They don't have a way to catch him though. Beautiful blink away from the Tidehunter. Alright, in the grand scheme of things, going 1-1 in a trade in this situation, suppose not the worst thing in the world for the side of the Wolf team, especially considering how hard that fight seemed for them at the beginning.
That was pretty hype. With the way that they ended up splitting the fight, the Invoker, of course, got chased down because his front line was not in place for him. But at the same time, the Medusa, she's still slow. She was stuck all the way on the other side of the river while HFN was chasing her backline. So, neat division there. This is rough.
This is... Whew. How do you hold? We've seen before that one of the big tools of them holding has been that Tornado EMP, like you mentioned. But without the Invoker being alive and without Invoker having buyback, what options do they have in this situation? Tabo will just lumber forward, doesn't have access to Ravage, but will dissuade them from taking the full melee rack. That feels honestly like a pretty big win. The fact that they don't have Invoker, they're playing 4v5 and they only lose at tier 3. I think I'll take it if I'm them right now.
Yep, for sure. And that MKB is now finished over onto HFN, and he'd love to bash that Medusa over the head with it.
Yep. MKB into Blink. What's Medusa building for herself? Or where does she go now? Looks like she's gonna go for this Daedalus. Do you feel she needs that extra damage at this point in the game? I suppose you've like already stocked up on the defensive items, right? BKB, Butterfly, Skadi Manta. Might be a bit of overkill to keep going in that direction.
You're just rounding out the slots here nicely. Going to get your level 25 talent pretty soon with the modifiers on the split shot. And after that, you're a big Skadi crit engine, and even his Ursa Bear is going to have a lot of trouble. I think HFN needs to kill her at least twice before she hits 25 now in order to take this game.
Certainly a tall order to be able to get that to happen. And the smoke that they went for on the side of Wolf Team doesn't end up yielding dividends. Well, now we are getting closer and closer towards the next timing of this Roshan. Do you think that they wait for it on the side of Wolf Team and then try to posture around the third Rosh? Maybe get themselves that Aghanim Scepter? Or do you think they have to try and play aggressively now, because fighting around the pit when Draken is always going to be on form, when you already have the shard for RoboZ with the tidal wave? Is it just too difficult at this point for them?
I think they're going to look for an opportunity to, I don't want to say sniper Rosh, but get it most of the way done while Balrogs is otherwise occupied. Alternatively, of course, you can go straight for Burner and test out how much damage you have right now.
Okay,
this is quite significant.
That this bear is helping to win, but oh, Weaver, beautiful catch there with the Aghanim Scepter to to put the Medusa back on full HP, and now HFN definitely doesn't have that same kind of luxury on his team. Will end up losing his life without buyback. Tabo in danger as well, tossed up into the air with the torrent. The break will come out from the sharpshooter hit as well. That enables them to get the quick kill. Ty does have buyback, does still have Ravage. Only buyback so far has come from Yadomi on this gyrocopter. But it's just a gyro without having cooldown anymore. I'm not sure how much he can really do here. Burner now staking up this high ground. Buyback from Tabo. Has to get back involved again. The right clicks are coming. Shackle shot. Just to buy time, to waste time. And they use Gale Force back in with the Ravage. Cataclysm, Sunstrike. Barely enough damage though. It's kind of ticking the Medusa right now. And there she goes again, getting time-lapse back by this Weaver. This is why this combination is so strong. Draken now activates the ultimate. They want to chase down Tabo, who's been dragged back by the X marks the spot. Bushwhack gets Kraken Shell through, but you can't Kraken Shell off. Right-click damage, my friend. Will end up taking a tumble.
No.
The Tidebringer cleave is going to be good enough. And now, without two of their beefiest heroes, and Yadomi about to die back here, it feels like this game is really in a death knell for the side of the Wolf team. They're going for his 40R as well. Dragged back into the boat. BKB activated by Robo-Z. The Gale Force not going to really do anything because they have more than enough damage. With Medusa outside of the Gale Force area, she gets the kill. They brought down 4. And Kips, is there any hope right now for the Wolf team to come back into this game?
There isn't. They have been so focused on countering the Medusa the normal way, which is bursting her down with the Ursa, that now they weren't ready for the tempo shift when the Aghanims over on the Weaver came out. And they're gonna try again, straight for her face. It's not gonna work.
Yep. She has BKB. She didn't have to use it the second go, but now she does again. Stone Gaze out onto the Dusa. Dusa ends up falling, or Ursa ends up falling rather. And they're just cleaning up everybody else who comes forward. You want the smoke? I guess you can have it. Burner. With all the right-click damage in the world, they force out the GG. Balrog Esports. They claim game 1. It is almost poetic. This is actually wonderful, right? Not only have they claimed the game 1 W here, but this is exactly what happened in their in the first match that they had. Balrogs took game 1. So now, what Destiny should tell us is that we should have a very easy comeback right now for the side of the Wolf team, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely results gotten in the past are always predicted for the future. This is how it goes. Now, I really wanna praise Balrogs here for just keeping their cool. They know that this is a great Ursa game, and they're just like, fine, we're gonna deal with it. We're gonna keep on just tossing Draken at them. He died 8 times in that mid game. This was not a particularly fun standout game for him in that way. But he did get done what needed to be done, which is get Burna farm, and then after that, make sure that the engine with the Weaver gets online. And once that happened, our way was just not ready to shift tempo.
No, not at all. Wolf team just were not able to catch up. And I'm thinking about when we look at these deaths that happened from the Brewmaster, we could probably track on the net worth graph of this Medusa when some of these deaths happen. When we see her getting further and further ahead, it's like, oh, Draken was probably busy giving up his life for the cause. Fantastic job being done here by Balrog Esports. The very early pickup, well, early comparatively for what it could have been, but then getting this Weaver Aghanim Scepter at the time that they got it and taking the first fight with it before Wolf team were aware that it was on the field of play suddenly changed everything. That was a fight that HFN felt a lot more confident in being able to win. And the sad thing is, that fight, he almost won it. If not for Weaver having axe, if he'd gone 2 minutes before that, he would have killed the Medusa, and then this game is suddenly completely different, Kips.
Yeah, it would have been, but shoulda, coulda, woulda, they're just going to have to do it next time.
Well, on the side of Wolf team, they've done it before, being able to drag back a victory against the Balrog side, who they dropped game 1 to. So the only question is, will they be able to do so again? Because now they have to do the difficult parts. Getting ahead, always much easier than having to mount a comeback. And now that comeback has to come from them. So Balrogs, they just need the one more win. They just need the last game. And suddenly, that will put them in the critical position of being able to 2-0 the side of Wolf team, claim those all-important points, and make your way up the ladder and potentially into the upper division of the South American DPC. So now we are going to take a short break. It's Wolf team versus Balrog Esports. It's 1-0 in favor of Balrogs. Let's see if Wolf Team will do something interesting, take us to a third game, or will we have dominance from the Balrogs? Stay tuned with myself, Snare, and the Empress of Dota 2, Kips. We will be right back with some more incredible Dota 2 action.